This is Braden with Midwest Motor Railroad. We're at the Oklahoma City Train Show, and this is
Chris Brody.
Chris, and we've got some. He's got an awesome layout here. We're going to have him give you a tour.
Okay.
So
yeah, my friends and I, we have what we call the Gulf Western Modular Railroad Society, and it's not necessarily a model of any particular place, but kind of a conglomeration of just scenes that we'd like to see.
So you have, this is your module here with this refinery?
Right, yes. I started building this refinery, oh man, it's been over 20 years ago.
Wow. And
one of the things that I wanted to do with it was have it with a mirror behind it to double the size. And so from basically the first day, I designed it on like 90-degree angles so that the lighting would be multiplied.
Very cool. And I noticed we got the fans, Nate, back here. That's awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to have a little bit of animation to it, and the fans, those are just 12-volt, computer CPU fans, and I just attach them to an MRC power pack to the variable and just crack it just like 10 or 15 miles an hour.
That's genius.
So it spins them slow.
Very cool.
So people can see it.
What kind of LEDs are those?
Actually, these are incandescents. When I started this, like I said, about 25 years ago, LEDs, you could get them, but they were like $6 each, and not nearly, as inexpensive. And so these are bulb ones, but because I've put them in parallel, they all draw off of it, so they give that a lower light level that is more like a refinery. I mean, LEDs would be like really bright, and you don't necessarily want that at a refinery anyway.
Yeah, we were actually driving from KC, and we passed a refinery, I think in El Dorado, not quite to Wichita. We saw the refinery out to the left, and I honestly at first thought it was downtown Wichita skyscrapers, but then we get closer, I was like, we're not even close to Wichita yet. So yeah, and I like the look. It looks just like it. That's really awesome.
Yeah, under the heat exchanger, I've got a flame circuit under there. A guy came by one time and he said, those have burners under them. You should have a flame thing. And I'm like, okay. And it was actually relatively easy to put in there. And I like the little effect of it. And as we come left here, this is another member's layout, our members modules. His name is Mike Coles, and he worked for Celanese down in Bishop, Texas for a long time. And so he made a plant that would do that. And then it wasn't planned, but we always just put them together because, of course, usually in real life, one plant's byproducts are used at another plant. And so he built this part up. And then we're coming to Mike's oil loading, or his chemical loading tanks. He's got the fire suppression above it. Mike, how long did it take you to build this thing? We're on camera here and microphone.
Probably a couple of months.
Months to get it with all the fire suppression stuff in there that makes it really cool.
Yeah.
And in this module area, he's got backtracks that he can operate independently to add. So we have the two main lines running, and he'll have a third train running here, switching back and forth to add some visual interest to the layout. And then as we move around the corner here, one of our, this section belongs to Vince Smith. He's another one of our members. Now he has family over in California, so you can kind of see a California theme thing going on. We got some orange groves here, and then of course an icon starting out in California was In-N-Out Burger, and he actually called and got the plans to make it, so he scratch built that and then had a sign. And then he also made one of the passenger depot here. He's got his Amtrak train parked there right now. And a former member that we had down in Corpus Christi, he owned a moving and storage warehouse. And so this one, the orange and yellow and brown building is actually a representative of that building, and that's exactly how it was painted down there in Corpus Christi, Texas.
And it looks like we got some custom painted Athearn Genesis locomotives here. That's pretty cool.
They are, yeah. One of the other members, Matt Gentry, he's doing, sometimes people call it proto freelance or just freelance, and he's doing Yankeetown docks in a modern Yankeetown dock is his.
And the whole Coltrane to match too. That's pretty
Exactly.
neat.
Yeah, he did Coltrane matched up. And here Mike Cole's the gentleman we were just talking to. He likes Delaware and Hudson, and we see a D&H train making its way down the main line here.
Passing the D&H passenger train on the left here on the siding.
This gray building, the Western Storage building there, we had that idea. Vince Smith and I were running around in the rat hole area in Los Angeles, and there's a building just like that. It's just, they took gray and just painted the whole thing. No trim, no nothing, and it was Western Storage, and he just painted that up. He thought it was a neat idea. I do too. And so we just put it just like that one. It just took a gray spray paint and sprayed the whole thing.
You got working CTC, it looks like, on your signal, on your Atlas signals here.
Actually, interesting that those are signal animators. Those are Logic Rail signal animators that do that. Because on here, it'd be great to have working CTC, but really we're running one main line eastbound and one main line westbound. And so, just to add some light animation, those things.
Not an ABS.
Exactly. It'll kick it down to a red as the train goes by, and then we have them timed that 15 seconds later, it'll push it to yellow, and then 15 seconds after that, it'll go back to green again, as you can see that one.
Cool. Yeah, it looks like this one just turned yellow. So.
Yeah, there's a sensor right below it, and you can see it just went to green again. But as the train goes over, it'll drop the signal to red.
Okay. That's a pretty genius way and saves a ton of wiring.
It absolutely does. It saves a ton of wiring. And again, because CTC would be nice, but for our purposes, we're just basically running trains around and around for the public. Our main focus is to basically promote the hobby, to have people and young children and things like this come up and say, oh wow, this is something you can do, running long trains, things like that. A former member, Andy Crocker, made this corner module with the river and the curved bridge. He's no longer with us as a member, but he very graciously allowed us to just keep the corner so we can keep using that.
Beautiful scene.
Yeah, he did a great job. He was very artistic. He was a painter, and actually he's the one that helped us with all of our backdrops. Everyone did their own backdrops for a while, and then we hit on the idea that we got together one week and we just laid them all out and made them all uniform, and made them all the same, so that it doesn't look, there's not a gigantic difference in them as we go around.
Oh, we got a train right to the left here.
Yeah, my dad, we were expanding out to 3 modules wide, and we needed a single module just by itself that wasn't attached to others. And my dad, years ago, he had told me, he said, y'all need a wreck scene, because in my hometown, Missouri Pacific had done like 3 wrecks in 3 years in there. And it turned out, and I the other members, I said, let's do a wreck scene. And sure enough, this is it. We get a lot of real nice comments about it. It's a fun scene,
What is your hometown?
I'm from Corpus Christi, Texas.
Oh, okay.
But my hometown was Pearsall, Texas, and the old IGN International Great Northern, which became Missouri Pacific, which of course became Union Pacific now, ran through there. So I remember, that's why I'm a big Mopac guy. I remember those big blue diesels with the Eagles coming through town when I was a young man, when I was 9, 10, 12 years old. This is our newest set of modules that one of our members, David Hulsey, and his wife Cheryl is very active with us. And in Texas as well as up in the Midwest, you see they're loops where they load unit trains. And so he thought that would be a cool thing, and sure enough, that's what we did. And then they did a nice farm scene here.
That's very cool. I've never seen something like that. That's really cool. And it's probably the perfect size. You can probably fit, what, 25-car train in there?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, the regular 54-foot, PS hoppers, just like this train here. Yeah. Yeah, this train is about, when he backs it in, it's about halfway around, so he can actually make a little bit longer train than that to sequester in there. And then it stages there, and when he's ready to run, he runs it out.
That's really cool.
His son James was an active member with us for a while. He's now a commercial pilot, a private pilot, so he runs around all over the world and lives in Argentina. But he was the one that made the grain elevator complex in the back, the loading nods.
I love that the field's in the middle of being harvested.
Yeah, that's a cool touch that David and Cheryl did. They're doing that, and then it's kind of part of that. Another single one we just did, in keeping with more of a rural theme. You can see here we did this is Harrison Farm Service. It's like a dealership of obviously John Deere tractors, and then they run grain and they run cattle. And so this is something typical Midwest thing is what we're shooting for, not any particular one. And then we have a feed mill over here to the left. And here behind us is Dave and Cheryl Holsey. They are the ones that, if you want to move over here right quick, they were the ones that built the farm scene. And so they are two of our members as well.
How many members are in your club?
We have 6 active right now. It's 5 and 6. We have one that comes when he can, and then others. So it's about 6 is our total group at this.
This is really impressive for only 6 people.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Well, how many years of work is this? I mean, it's not
This module, and the next one's coming up, is a gentleman named Mike Huber was the founder of our group. This module it's been more than 20 years because it was 1996 was the first show. They did a Great American Train Show, a GATS show in Corpus Christi that year, and I believe it was 96 or 98, and that was it. So this is an original module from there.
That module's been many miles.
It has been many miles, yeah. So Mike was a journeyman electrician in Chicago. So we call this our Chicago corner.
Okay.
Because he did, like a Chicago theme for it. And he was actually a dealer. He had a shop as well in Corpus Christi, Texas for a while, and he's passed away several years ago. But he had a shop down there.
We're coming up to my favorite part, even though it's all awesome. I've noticed, so we've got Customs and Border Protection. This is a port. Where is this?
Yeah. It's not a representative of any particular port. It's basically a conglomeration of just a port scene. I wanted to do an intermodal terminal, and this kind of grew out of that. I wanted to do an intermodal terminal that was, I guess I'll call it impressive if I do say it myself. And so one of our members here a while back, he is not with us anymore either. But he said he passed away a couple of years ago. But he was looking, he said, for our containers, we need a ship. And so, sure enough, he built it. He built the bottom part of it. He was a surfer, so he just took his surfing thing with some, his thing that he made surfboards with some 4-inch insulation. And he made the hull, and I scratch built the structure. And then Vince Smith, one of our other members, did the container pedestals and then the container stacks.
It's really awesome. That's all I can say. That's so cool.
And it's about 6 foot long altogether. But it's actually a model of a relatively small coastal freighter. The biggest ones now are basically twice that long and twice that wide. But we didn't have room, obviously, for that. The container crane, an interesting note, is the man I mentioned, Mike Huber, that started the group. He built that out of acrylic. He scratch built it out of acrylic so it doesn't warp. It's actually full size for in scale. and we're using it
Wow.
on an HO scale.
That is
A full-size HO scale one would be like 5.5 feet tall, and would stick out about 4.5 feet. And so we didn't have room for that. So this one, it looks great, at least in my opinion, but it's
awesome.
it's full size for N scale.
That's like,
Yeah,
even though that's N scale, that's like 200 foot tall in HO.
it is. You know, those things are just massive. You
And
know.
the ship, even though you said it's pretty small for modern
If it was a
standards.
real ship,
Yeah.
it would actually be a fairly small coastal,
Yeah, so, and
frame.
I mean, scale. I'm looking at these auto racks in front. That's probably, it's 500 foot long.
Yeah.
At least, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because those auto racks are like 90 foot long, and then we
Yeah,
got
you
like
can
8 of
just
them long
measure it
here.
out.
And then the mirror behind your yard here.
Yeah, that was one of the
Makes
things
it
that I
look
want to
infinite.
do for a module. I see that a lot of times on modules, and it's just the way it goes. People have a 24-inch module, so they make an intermodal terminal on that. I wanted to have, I guess I'll call it a wow factor, and go deeper with that. So we actually made some additional 24-inch modules that are then make the entire scene 54 inches deep. And then I hit on the idea of putting a mirror behind it so that it would then, double it up. And of course, you can, if you look, you can see yourself in it, pretty hard. But most of the time, people don't, if they can't see their own face,
Yep.
they don't think about that too much. And
Yeah,
so
like-
it works.
From eye level here, I'm watching this train go by, and I just see like a huge, infinite-looking
Yeah.
yard of containers in the
Yeah.
background. It's really cool.
And most of the time, that's what I'm shooting for. Is people go, wow, and then they realize that there's a mirror. That's what I
exactly
want.
What I saw whenever
Yeah.
I first came by here, I said, "Wow."
So I definitely wanted that scene to look, basically just like that, and it looks like a real container yard. We went over to Long Beach one time and just saw the massive container yards over there, and want to do that too. And of course here I have a trailer yard, and then we hit on the idea of having a refrigerator warehouse, which actually that idea came to me from in Corpus Christi. They had a Port Authority refrigerated warehouse down there for a minute. They actually took it down because they were building the new bridge down there, and it was going right over where that was going to be. So that's no longer there, but that was where the idea came from for that one.
Neat overpass here. We got some construction, some cones.
And actually, the street signs are the freeway signs. They're kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing. If you look at them, for anybody that's seen the movie Blazing Saddles, out in the middle of the desert, they had a toll booth out there, and it was called the William J. Lepetamine Tollway, and so a lot of times I put it up there and just see how many people notice that and realize that that's what it's, what it's talking about.
I think I'm too young.
Probably so, yeah. Yeah, Blazing Saddles was made a few years ago, and that's true.
And then we've got the lighted traffic lights in the back. I love those little touches like that.
Hold on just a moment.
All right. I noticed more fans on top of your warehouse here. Very
Yeah,
cool.
like I said, more of that. I just wanted the animation, and people, kind of get a kick out of that it's moving the fans.
And did you scratch build a lot of this stuff?
Yeah, all the fans, all the air conditioning units are all scratch built. And we've almost made the loop around, so now we're back into the refinery area. I wanted to do a tank car loading dock. Very similar to the ones I see down in the Corpus Christi area in Houston, and just, again, it's not a model of any particular refinery. It's meant to be just kind of generic, like a typical refinery that you've seen.
I love your little touches, like grass in the gauge shows
Right.
you that it's not as heavily used, not as heavily maintained
Exactly.
as the main line.
Yeah, and that was absolutely by design.
And we're almost back to where we started here.
Yeah. As we make it around the corner, I made some large for the corner module. These are scratch-built tanks. This one has a floating roof, which is used for like flammable liquids and if it's a fixed roof, then you could put vapors in between, and it'd be more of an explosion hazard. And so they make floating roof ones where the top actually floats on the liquid that's in the tank, and they'd go literally up and down with the level that's in the tank. And so that's just kind of what I think is a cool detail that you don't see a lot on
I didn't
models.
know that.
And then here I did a little quick scene with folks that were digging out, fixing a pipeline.
And we're back to the second favorite part. To my second favorite. The container ship's still my favorite, but this is awesome too.
Yeah, and that pretty much takes us on the full loop around the layout. We do have, we've got a couple of other scenes that we've had. We were up at Deshler, Nebraska with the open house that was up there a couple of months ago. And we have another member that's built, actually it's Yankeetown dock scene, and he's building a coal terminal. And that's another 3 module set as well, that we're kind of, getting some new things and bringing in some new models as well. But this is pretty much the standard travel setup,
Okay.
I guess I'll call it.
Cool. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you. We
Thanks for the
appreciate it.
tour.
Absolutely.